So let's go ahead and get started. So today's reading was simplicity, and because of where we are in the year, it really kind of makes sense if you're following along with the Taoist belief. And of course, we listen to Lu Ming on a regular basis because he's got all of the seasons taped. And so when the new season comes along, we just listen to the tape. And so one of the things I kind of wanted to touch base on, just simply because it's more information, and for me it kind of helps me recognize where we are and why we talk like this, is a lot of the belief systems aren't just Taoist. So a lot of the Chinese philosophy and the Asian systems are actually multicultural, because they were actually 80-something independent states that joined together to form China before they closed the walls and just kind of said, okay, everybody stay out, and we're just going to be to ourselves for X years. And of course, so a lot of what we talk about is a mix of Confucianism, Zen Buddhism, and what finally became Taoism. And so there's a combination of things that all led to this. One of the ideas of reciprocity, which is that for everything you give, you get, and for everything you get, you need to give something, is actually Confucian in nature. And so that comes from the Confucius belief, and in some senses the Zen Buddhist belief, because they kind of merged. You know, Confucianism was a great concept, and as it spread out, everybody said, well, wait a minute, that's more like this than that, and yada, yada, yada. And so they just kind of, you know, merged them all together, which is why it's kind of unique to study any of the Chinese history, because of how broad it was. I mean, it's Mongol, and it's Northern Asian, and it's Chinese, and I mean, there's just this whole mass of different ways of doing things that they were able to easily merge together, because there was very little overlap, you know, but the base understanding was the same. You've got to kind of have a sense of yourself in order to be healthy. And that sense of self needs to be balanced. When you start losing your sense of self and losing your sense of balance, you get sick. It made perfect sense, right? And so this time of year, along with the idea of simplicity, we really do kind of get that connection of ourself, right? We really kind of, you know, lose all that big party, going out, beach, running, you know, all that stuff all changes, and we really get by the fireplace because it's cold, you know, and bundle up because the heater isn't doing much, you know, it's not working. You crank it up and it just gets really hot, but it doesn't seem to be very effective. Oh, we got a mic problem. Whoa. That may have been why they turned this off the last time. Interesting. Okay, so without getting too much further off topic on that, simplicity being, we kind of shave off all the excess. We kind of come to an understanding of it's just me and what do I need to survive, without all the superfluous, well, I want to have a Cadillac, or I want to have a big house on the hill, or I want to, you know, it's more like just a little soup, something to warm me up, you know, just a little prayer, just a little hope that the sun comes out today, you know, is really, really simple. And that's really kind of being with Tao, you know, being in the flow of everything, is not trying to find heat or trying to, you know, get sunlight. It's that, okay, well, it's winter, you know, and so I hope the sun comes out today, you know, and so that's more in line with the way things are, with the Taoist readings and with this time of year. So we've talked about the foods, and we talked about the diets and all that kind of stuff. Is there any questions about those kinds of things? Because that's a lot of this time of year, but if everybody's happy with it, we don't need to spend any time on it. Good. Okay, so last week we did the self-massage, and we pretty much did all of it. There's a couple we missed because they weren't specifically necessary at that time, but now we're in the midst of winter. And if you can remember most of these and do most of these massage practices this time of year, it's very supportive. And when spring comes, you won't feel a lack of energy. You'll feel the spontaneous growth of energy, right? So last week we kind of mentioned the whole, the yin is now the teenager or the older teenager, young woman, and and the general is saying, we really need to do this or that, and she's like, no, I don't want to, no. And it's true, we feel like we need to still do stuff, and yet inside of us is saying, slow down, sit down, take a deep breath, it's cold out, put on an extra jacket, that kind of stuff. And so in spring, we'll see the exact opposite. Yin will be an older woman trying to corral the young boy of yang, and she's going to be saying, no, you don't want to do that. But I want to. And so we kind of get that rising yang energy starting to tell us, but I really want to, and if you follow that better, and stay more in tune with that, then you'll notice how the energy in the body is more, not so much consistent, but it's more consistent with the season, right? So as spring comes along and you do want to do more stuff, you can, if you nurture yourself now. If you take time to take care of yourself now, then the organs repair and the brain repairs, the nervous system repairs itself. All those things repair themselves, and when spring comes along and you want to go out and do something, you don't just fall down the first step you take, and go, oh yeah, and you are nurtured, right? That character of nurturing. So that's why we do so much of this self-massage, evaluation, what's going on with my body, how is that making me feel? And it works. I mean, therapy is really good this time of year. In the email I said crossing over is really good this time of year. My massage therapist's dad is 90 years old, had a small stroke, got pneumonia and died overnight. Overnight, right? They call it something like flash pneumonia or something, right? Because they take you in the hospital, you've got a small temperature, they give you an antibiotic, which is in a drip, you're laying there in bed, you're trying to recover from the shock of the stroke, right? And so he was starting to sleep a lot, which is kind of, they don't, at 90, what do you do? He wants to sleep, let him sleep, The next morning, he didn't wake up, And so I'm talking to my massage therapist, and it's kind of like, well, so think about it like this. He's 90 years old. We don't know what the condition of his body. He had a stroke. He's laying there in bed, sleeping, and his best friend is at his door going, let's go. And he got up out of bed and whoosh, he was done, because that's the time of year it is. It really is a great time of year for someone to pass away, simply because you're with family, right? All that extraneous things that are gone, right? It's just you and life, and it's time to change. Go, push the button, move on. Don't worry about it. It's okay, right? And so, as hard as it is to let go of somebody, this is like the opportune moment in time, So apart from that, where was I going with that one? So the important thing of nature and nurture, right? So we really want to think about the nurturing portions this time of year. The meditation should be clear. You'll have a lot less jabber going on in your mind when you try to do meditation this time of year. So this is a great time to restart a meditation program if you kind of lost it at the end of summer. Now's a great time to restart it. Push the button, reset, move on. So you get a lot more clarity. It happens more spontaneously. You get a better feel. It also gets a better internal feeling. And that's something we keep talking about, is that we get this connection this time of year, which is much better, right? I went out with some friends and had sushi the other night. And I ordered what I normally order, which I shouldn't have because it's my summer order, not my winter order, right? And so for the last 2 days, wow, I really can recognize where things are changing and how my body's feeling. It was like, wake up, think about it. yeah, and so it was really, really obvious. And so if we really get rid of all that garbage that's going on in our heads all the time and we think about, okay, well, what did I do and how do I feel? It makes perfect sense, right? And so we need to look at that, and especially in the massages. So that's partly why we do the massages this time of year, is we can feel the sensitive areas. They're obvious. They're sticking out like a sore thumb, right? I'm massaging my stomach and it's like, whoa, it's right there. Oh yeah, oh, okay, well, what did you do? Too much sushi. Okay, so, right? It's pretty simple things. All right, so first of all, let's do a standing quiet gong. So the microcosmic orbit. Everybody's okay with the microcosmic orbit, right? No? Okay, good. So start in the standing position. This time of year I feel a little heavier, and I just let that weight drop down to my heels and in the center of my feet, and then I grip the ground with my toes, and I just feel everything kind of stick to the ground and just feel all the weight right down to the ground. And then take a good deep breath. Open up the chest. Rest the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth behind the front teeth. And as you exhale, feel the energy coming down the front. I actually feel it coming down my throat and then down into my stomach, and it kind of moves out from there into the heart and the lungs and then down into the organs. So, and then I feel it drop down to the center of the body, and I can inhale and rise back up the back, over the head, nourish the eyes, go behind the nose to the tongue, and then kind of a swallow as you exhale down and feel the energy rolling down inside the body, nourishing all the organs. And then when you're ready, take a deep breath in. So, 2. Three. So, and then relax to a regular breath. And place the hands over the dantian. And we're going to do the sound practice again. So think about a sound that's up in here. It's all in my mouth. And then I want to move down to the top of the chest, which is a little bit lower. And then all the way down to where your hands are. Okay, and just think about that feeling. Good. Now rub the hands together. And we're going to do the Chi awareness exercise. So once you feel the warmth in your hands, bring your hands apart. Form a Chi ball, or feel like the ball is there, and kind of inhale and exhale. Should feel really sticky as you're trying to pull out, and kind of thick or full as you're trying to push in. after you get a good feeling for the ball, go ahead and open the arms and feel the ball expand as you open your arms until you're hugging it. It's a big beach ball. You want to kind of hollow the chest, so you kind of round the body a little bit and hold on to the ball, and then draw it in as you inhale and expand the body and let the ball move from the outside to the inside. Let's go ahead and move on. It can be difficult this time of year to get the ball to move when you want it to, so it's okay. So sit out on the edge of the chair. The legs should be at a 90-degree angle or a little bit more. So you don't want to be out there and you don't want to be back here. You want to be more right in the middle. And if the legs are a little further apart than your shoulders and out at an angle, it's fine. Sometimes it's more comfortable for people, and that works perfectly well. And so the first thing we want to do is put our hands right in the hip flexor. We want to feel our hips roll forward and roll back. So you want to just feel that you've got some good motivation in there. And if you're pushing on it and it hurts, we're going to work on that. If it doesn't, anybody having problems with them? No? Good. All right, then we don't have to worry about that one. So it's what it is really is an exercise to remind you that the hip rolls, you don't just inhale and lurch forward, you pull forward with the hips to open the belly and inhale. And then when you exhale, you roll back and relax. And I know most of you have this okay, it's just an exercise to think about when you're practicing it. So it rolls forward, and that opens the stomach and allows the diaphragm to drop, allows the lungs to open up. And then you can sit up straight without any problem at all and inhale completely and then relax. So let's try that a couple times with the hands over the dantian. Just roll the hips forward and start your inhale. Curve the back and feel the energy rising up to the top, just like the microcosmic orbit, and exhale down. Inhale forward. And exhale down. So and inhale up. So good. All right, rub the hands together. And wash the face. Inhale up and exhale down. And then the right hand, inhale up and exhale down. And then kind of squeeze your nose as you're exhaling. And then the left hand. Good, and then both hands kind of massage the scalp, brush the hair. And then we're going to form cups with our hands like this. We're going to cup over the eyes without pushing on the eye. So we want to cup around the eye. And then we're going to pump our hands a little bit. And that kind of pumps the eye and the area around the eye. And there's a lot of pressure points there. And then right from there you can roll back to the ears and massage around the ears. And then stick your fingers in your ears. Inhale, and when you exhale, it's the ka sound. Ka. 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 And Tibetan drum beating, so you cover the hand, or you take your palms and you cover your ears, and then you use your fingers like this, and you beat just lightly right under the skull. You don't need to beat very hard. It should be just like a heartbeat you should feel. Good. And then next, we want to use your fingers and massage the sides of the neck from the sides all the way to the back. And then down into the trapezius, which is the top muscles of the shoulders. And this can all be done together or all at once, or it's really good exercise. Feel warm in the neck and the shoulders, because that really does warm you up. Clap the hands together and rub. And then form loose knuckled fists and rub the lower back all the way up to the floating rib. And then the ribs on the side of the body. This can be really good for constipation or for gas in the lower intestine. You rub the sides of the ribs all the way to the back, front to back. And then you can also do the ribs, follow the ribs. And all of those work really well to loosen up tension in the organs. And then when you're done with that, brush down the arm, and then the other arm, and then down the legs, all the way down to the ankles. Good. Okay, so then from there we can go to specific pressure points and organs. So now the body is alive, the energy is smooth, and we can easily go find pressure points that are really, really sensitive and just touch them, right? We've talked about this before. It's not like I need to, take a needle and stick it in there. All you have to do is just touch that spot and just feel your finger and the spot and try to feel the heartbeat and focus the heartbeat there. So part of what we've talked about before is how intention moves the chi in the body. And when we do the Tai Chi movement, strength doesn't come from my muscle. The strength comes from me directing the chi to push and draw energy out, right? Try to draw the other person's energy in, and then my chi energy works, right? Right now, the energy is all internal, right? All the chi is inside. It's our little triple burner and our little coal, and we're trying to keep everything alive. Well, but that makes it very, very sensitive. And so when we've done this kind of a stimulation exercise, now when we're directing the chi, all I have to do, because my hands are full of chi, all I have to do is just brush across that pressure point area, which I know is normally sensitive for all of us, and I can feel it. It's like, wow, I don't even have to touch it really, and I can feel how sensitive that spot is. Well, you can just kind of hover over it, close your eyes, and just feel the pulse in your body, and let that pulse become here. Let it be here in the body. And you'll feel it. It just shows up there. And so that's a really, really important discernation between summer, the massage and so on, and winter massage and Chi Gung. So far so good? Okay, I'm moving along quickly because we're running through time. last week we also talked about you take the palms, set the palms right on the top of the knee and put your fingers down, and you can feel the top of the bottom bone, right? So the two bones come up and you can feel the knuckle right there. If you move your hands to the sides, there's a little hollow right on the side of that bone, and it's literally right off the bone face. There's this hollow spot. Now there's two of them. There's one here and there's one here. So I can just basically go like this and put it on the first one and touch the second one, and those are the spots, right? And it's the same thing, right? Just like this one. You don't need to grind into it and massage. You just need to kind of feel it there. Put your hands over it, and then just try and feel the pulse in your hands and feel the energy being drawn and the pulse emanating in the leg from those same points. So far, so good? All right. So any questions about either the sequence or purpose, reason, life, the universe, and everything? 42, yeah. No? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, sorry. Mm-hmm. It's an odd reference. Good. Okay, so let's see, one more class, and then we're off break. For 2 weeks we're off for break, and then we'll be back again in January. All right, so let's do the closing exercise. Find your standing position again. And it's okay if you feel a little tired or weak after doing those exercises. Up to the self-massage, it's a great thing to put you to sleep at night. Yeah. Just don't do it vigorously and you'll sleep. That's right. Okay, take a couple of breaths. Should be able to feel the pulse in the bottom of your feet touching the ground. Go ahead and let that happen, that's fine. And when you're ready, turn the palms out. Inhale, rise up. Take a breath at the heart and lungs. Feel the pulse following your hands going down to the Dantian and Mingmen. Take a breath there. And feel the pulse following your hands going down the legs, livening the legs and the feet. Take a breath there. And take a couple short breaths and just feel the energy in the body, circulating, pulsing. And when you're ready, palms out, inhale, rise up. Take a breath at the heart and lungs. And the Dantian and Mingmen. And the bubbling spring points, the bottoms of the feet. Take a couple more breaths. Try to remain relaxed and just feel the pulse in the entire body. It's kind of like the whole body is pulsing. And one more. Inhale, rise up. Take a breath at the heart and lungs. And the Dantian and Mingmen. And the bubbling spring points at the bottoms of the feet. And take a couple more breaths and feel the energy gather in the Dantian and the Mingmen, just below the belly button. You don't want to draw it in so much as you just want to feel it gather there. All right, any last thoughts or questions? Okay, thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you next Monday if you make it.